how I met my wife. I was going to work as a storyteller, and I wanted to get storytelling gigs, but I didn't know anything that I was going to do for my storytelling, but I thought, well, I'll put it together, but I still needed a place to pay the rent. A way to pay the rent. So I ended up going over to this group home, and they hired me for second shift, but they hired me for 3 weeks later. And I said, you got anything I can do in between? And they said, sure. You can go work at this sheltered workshop for folks that are mentally retarded. And I said, great, that'd be super. So I was just going to work during the day. I show up, and there is a hearing program upstairs and a deaf program downstairs. And I look at the lunchroom, and we take turns to make sure nobody took anybody's sandwich. It was all cool. We're hanging out over there. And then when it was my turn to go down to the lunchroom, and I was chatting with my friends, and I said, who's that woman over there? And he goes, oh, she's deaf. I said, so what? She can still kiss. And I got a paper plate, and I went over and I said hi, and I knew nothing about sign language. I knew nothing about deaf culture. And she looked at me and thought, oh, a hearing guy again. Doodaloo. And I was only going to be there for 3 weeks, so I had to turn the charm on best I could. It didn't help that the night before I'd gone out with my friends, and I kind of tied one on, and I was running late for work, and I didn't take a shower that morning, and she says, your hair was so dirty that day. And it was a little bit dirty with a long ponytail, and finally I convinced her that it would be good to go on a bicycle ride with my cousin John and I. We were going to go to Plum Island. So she agreed because it was going to be 3 of us, and she wasn't going to be with me. And later on, my friend said, yo, you thought John was good for you? Oh, yeah. We end up going to Plum Island, and after riding a bicycle for a half hour, those little sparks start happening. And then we're looking for a way to ditch John. And we're hanging out, and we're at the restaurant at the Grog in Newburyport, and we're holding hands underneath the table, and we're just looking at each other. And when you don't know anything about sign language, you just look in somebody's eyes, and that thing about being in love, you're over there. And then she started to teach me some sign language. She never said I had to learn, but it was a thing where I said, oh, okay, I want to learn for this woman, and I'm like trying to soak it up and figure it out. And then I moved in after only knowing her a month. I moved into her apartment when I got kicked out of my apartment where they closed it up in Lynn. And then 6 months later, I come home from that job where I was working nights, and I look, and there's a card on the table that said, will you marry me? And I was smart enough to say yes. Because I would have waited until about 2053. So we had a commitment celebration, and our friends who were gay couldn't get married, so we thought, well, we're not going to get legally married either. And we had the hoopah, we were there, and it was a thing where she said that marriage, a lot of times a woman is chattel, and I'm nobody's, you know, and I said, that's right, you're right. Hey, you're your own woman. We get over there, and we fell in love, and last August, we had our 20th anniversary. Just amazing to me. I look over at her, and I say, I'm the luckiest man in the world. This is how you do it. Lucky man. So everybody can try that. Here you go. Lucky